Wewe, mimi siwezi kujua kitu chenye hawa watoto wanataka mpaka tuwasikize. Na ukiweka mandhari kama ile Ruto ameweka, ati ukituma tweet tu unakujiwa na polisi, watu wataongea aje? Watu wataongea aje bwana, mniambie?
It has been one of the most controversial bills that was recently introduced and signed by the President of the Republic of Kenya on 15th of October 2025 into law, the Cybercrime Bill, a bill that seeks to actually limit the freedoms of expression to Kenyans via social media and via any platform. Now, yesterday, a complaint was launched and some members of the Highcourt of Kenya, some members of the Law Society of Kenya and Kenyans of Goodwill leaders are led by the Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna, decided to take a step further to stop this bill from being made into law. Now, they filed a motion to stop the bill and to abolish it at the High Court of Kenya. A news that are reaching our news desk this evening is that the bill has actually been stopped by the High Court of Kenya, so kulingana na taarifa ambazo zinapata kutufikia. Now, as I had explained earlier, this bill was a bill that is meant to destroy and to limit Kenyans on their said freedoms of expression via social media. And I have seen most leaders in the Republic of Kenya trying to stop this bill, more so since the bill did not go through the Senate. It only went through the Parliament or the National Assembly, and then it was made into a bill. It was made into law after it was signed by the President on the 15th of October, on Wednesday last week, the morning after we received the news of the death of one former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, among those that have criticized this bill so far includes one, the Senator of Kiambu County, Senator Karugo Odang'o, who had this to say about the bill today morning. He wrote a letter directed to the President and a press release. He says, "My press statement on President Ruto's unconstitutional asset of 7 bills that never reached the Senate. Press release. For immediate release, President Ruto's unconstitutional asset of 7 bills that never reached the Senate. On Wednesday, 15th October 2025, President William Ruto committed a gross violation of the Constitution by asserting into law 8 bills, 7 of which were never brought before the Senate as required under Article 110 of the Constitution. The Senate, which represents and safeguards the interests of the counties, was unlawfully bypassed. This act not only undermines the principle of bicameralism, but also strikes at the core of devolution, a cornerstone of our constitutional order. Among the bills that never reached the Senate includes the number 1, the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Amendment Bill 2024, the Privatization Bill, the Wildlife Conservation Bill, and the Management Amendment Bill, the National Police Service Commission Amendment Bill 2024, the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill 2025, number 6, the Virtue Asset Service Providers Bill 2025, and the National Art Commission Amendment Bill. In what can only be described as a deliberate and cynical move, the President chose to sneak the assets like a thief in the night, yet in broad daylight and on a day when the entire nation was mourning the passing of the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, a statesman who spent his life defending democracy and constitutionalism. This timing and manner raised concerns and serious moral and political questions. While Kenyans reflected on the democratic values and justice that Raila Amolo Odinga stood for, Mr. Ruto quietly asserted to laws that weaken the very institutions he fought to strengthen. We must ask this question: why did the President proceed to sign these bills into law despite clear constitutional guidance and legal precedent requiring the Senate's input? Number 2, what urgency or motive justified such a blatant disregard of due process? Number 3, why was this done on the very day our nation was plugged into the mourning for a national hero whose lifelong mission was to defend good governance? I therefore call upon the Senate leadership to urgently seek an advisory opinion from the courts under Article 110 and Article 111, Article 112, and Article 163 on the constitutionality of the acts. Number 2, the Council of Governors, civil society, Gen Zs, patriots, and constitutional watchdogs to stand firm in defending the integrity of the legislative processes of the Republic of Kenya. All Kenyans to remain vigilant against creeping authoritarianism and constitutional subversion. This is not a bipartisan issue. It is a national concern. The Constitution of Kenya belongs to the people, not to Ruto, not to the executive. We will not allow any arm of government to manipulate, ignore, or sidestep in it for political convenience or expediency. Now, as we speak, the High Court of Kenya, as of this evening, it has taken a step, by the way, in stopping the Cybercrime Act, because that was one of the bills that a lot of people rose against. That was one of the bills that Kenyans from every walk of life tried to argue a point about it, because it beats logic how such a bill is presented before the court of law. It is presented before the president without it passing through the Senate. A conservatory order was issued on Wednesday, October 2022 by Justice Lawrence Mugambi, effectively stopping the enforcement, implementation, and operation of Section 27(1)(b)(c) and 2 of the amended Act. The judge decided to issue conservatory orders pending the hearing of a petition by one Ruben Kigame, who moved to court a day earlier to challenge the act, raising fresh legal and constitutional questions around digital freedom and freedom of expression in Kenya. Reading from the ruling. Pending the hearing and determination of this application, a conservatory order is hereby issued suspending the enforcement, implementation, and operation of Section 27(1)(b)(c) and 2 of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Act 2024, the ruling stated. Now, the petition, which was filed by the Kenya Human Rights Commission, KHRC, and former presidential contender Ruben Kigame at the High Court, was certified as urgent and argued that the provisions of the Act posed a threat to freedom of speech. Further, the petitioners argued that several sections of the amended Act grant government agencies unchecked powers to monitor, access, and restrict online accounts without judicial oversight, contravening Articles 31, 33, 34, 35, and 36 of the Constitution, which safeguard privacy, freedom of expression, and the media independency. In the interim ruling, Justice Mugambi directed that the application and its accompanying submissions be served physically within 3 days and a return of service be filed in the court. The court further directed that responses and submissions to the application be filed and served within 7 days of service. Further directions by the court are said to be issued on November 5th, where the matter is expected to be subjected to a full hearing or other procedural determinations. Remember, many Kenyans turned up in opposing this bill, and more so, many Kenyans, even the Gen Zs, decided to take it back to the street to protest against the Cybercrime Amendment Bill. For now, it seems that our constitutional watchdogs, led by Edwin Sifuna, the Senator of Nairobi County, Ruben Kigame, and the Kenya Human Rights Commission, have taken it upon themselves to defend the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya and the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression through the digital media. For now, that's what's up. I would love to know your take in regards to this. Leave a comment on the comment section. See you in our next video.